Right. And we are on the air. Welcome, everybody, back into the barbershop where we pull the covers back, where we have those tough conversations that sometimes people don't want to have, and a lot of people believe we don't have. But we're going to talk about some stuff today. I'm on the air today with my man, my main man, Mr. Tyrone Miller. He's going to bring his version of his introduction because I listen, his resume is way longer than I can imagine and keep up with. I'm gonna let him lay all that out for y'all. But today we're gonna come on, man, and he's gonna help us pull the covers back as we talk about mental wellness with brothers. Right?
That's
From
right.
the black man's perspective, what does that mean for us? How does that impact us, not only as individuals, but in our families, in our community, with our loved ones? We're going to talk about it all today, y'all. So put your seatbelts on, get ready to rock and roll with us, and know that you can be a part of this conversation by just joining in. You can send us a conversational question at any point in time during the show, but you also can follow us, share, and like what we do on almost every social media platform there is, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We're all over. Come be a part of the family. All right. With that, I'm going to turn the tables over to my boy. Give a little introduction, man. Give us the elevator spiel, man. Who am I on with today?
Oh, you on with Tyrone Miller? I don't know if y'all know, man. I've done a bunch of things in my life, but most things I'm most proud of. I'm gonna start off with those. I'm married. Been married for 13 years. Got two beautiful children. They both off to college. So me and my wife is empty nesters right now. Woo! Life is good. Life is good. I ain't had to drive nobody around. That's beautiful. But getting back to my personal, man, I've done a bunch of things in entertainment. I started off as a rapper at 18 years old, figuring it all out. Then I used that, start working in the music business, Then, as you can see, I got a plaque behind me. Very proud of that. That's why I teach also. But, I got this here for a reason. It inspires me. So I'm looking at it right now, like through here, and I'm like, oh, man, I still can't believe it. It was a dream of mine at one point, and now, it's a reality. But so did music, worked in music, did reality TV, was on national TV over 30 times. I actually won an election. Yeah, I was elected to UN School Board, UN Township, New Jersey. So I'm proud of that. It's just I'm a passionate person, and I pretty much go where my passion leads me. So that's pretty much what my life story's been. Just doing things that mean something to me, and if it means something to me, I'm trying to make it bigger for the world and maximize my talents. That's all.
My man. Yeah, you caught me off guard. I didn't know about the UN school board piece.
Yeah.
You slid that one in. All right.
Yeah, during the COVID, man. COVID, I was like, what I'm gonna do? I need something to do.
Wow.
I'm gonna run for the board. And I won. As a matter of fact, that's what this other thing up here is. My certified election thing. I said those two of my proudest things in my life, other than family.
Awesome.
But I'm a family man first. Let me just say that.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Listen, two brothers who believe in family are on the air today because I'm like you, man. Everything I do is all about family. It's always about making sure that my family's good. This whole platform and this conversation today, real talk, is about family because as I learn to become healthier, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, I'm doing this, for me, but ultimately it's for my sons. You know what I mean? So if I'm the best version of me I can be, it benefits them wholly. So absolutely, 100%. Man. So so family's always big.
That's right. Always. Like, man, I like what you said, brother. I always, my wife and I used to argue because she used to say, you ain't changed for me, you changed for yourself. I said, baby, if I'm changing for the better, it's going to affect everybody. Anybody I come in contact with, it's good. So, you're right. That personal work you got to do inside, or if you get a little bit of help with it, it's all for the greater good of mankind and humanity. I like to think about it. I don't like to make it as small as just my family and the community. Like, I think, we vibrating so high, man. It's changing the world.
It's global.
Man, like it is, bro. You never know who's watching this right now, man. It might be some brother like, man, look at these two dudes. I love these guys. And the vibe just transcends through this screen, or man, you never know. So I don't shrink anything, bro. I'm always bigger. Scale it as the business people say.
My man, there you go. That's how you do. So listen, man, let's get into the heart of things, man. This is part 2 of a conversation around men's health. We did this 2 weeks ago, and I had brother Pastor Tone Bellamy on, and we kind of build a little bit about or lay down, I guess I'll say, the foundation of trying to understand what does this thing called men's health mean? How does that impact? And how do we move forward in it? So I'm gonna start off today, man, by giving you the same question that I hit Mr. Bellamy off with last week or 2 weeks ago: is what does mental health mean to you, and why? Why does it matter?
Oh man, that's a great question. Thank you for asking, man. Like, so I'm a long-winded answer this one because it's deep.
Your table, your time.
Yeah. So I feel as though men's mental health is something that is, and I'm usually don't close things off. I'm gonna close this off to black men because I personally, I'm a black man. You're a black man as well, but it's something that's not. How can I say? It's something that's not embraced in our community. It's not, and especially for people coming up in my age bracket. Like I'm in my mid 40s, and I know my father. It was nothing to him. Mental health, like health is health. Mental health was like my dad. That wasn't the language he spoke. That wasn't the language my grandfather spoke. So for me coming up, it wasn't the thing. That's not what they didn't surround me with those type of tools for me to be successful moving forward in my life. But they didn't know, so I don't hold it against them.
Right.
But so now that we know better, we have to do better. And men's mental health, man, it's huge. Like I think, me personally, I've been going to therapy for off and on for about 4 or 5 years, and since I've been there, it's changed my life for the better tenfold. And I can't underestimate the value it's had in my life, and it's opened me up to so many things. Like this is the one thing I tell everybody. Matter of fact, I know you're the host, Ned, but I'm going to ask you a question. So before you went to therapy, did you feel?
Before I went to therapy, did
you feel like emotionally your surroundings and whatever space you're in? Did you feel? And if you did you feel openly?
So never openly, right? And I think part of the problem, and to answer your question kind of indirectly, yes, I did. The problem with what I was feeling was I didn't know how to relate or understand or even unfold what I was feeling. Right. So similar to you, I didn't have the skill sets. I didn't have those tools at my red oak development. Because like you, my dad, uncles, those folks, men who are around me never talked about how to process, how to deal with your emotions and your feelings. So when things happen that caused you to have an emotional attachment or an emotional breakdown, I didn't have the skill set to manage it or deal with it. So yeah, I did feel, just didn't know how to work it. Didn't know how to manage it.
Right.
So yeah.
Great answer, brother. Because I literally, since one of the things I worked out with my therapist is she always talked to me about, like I would literally, that was my main crutch, that I would go to these sessions and I would be fine. I'm good. I'm straight. I tell her some traumatic stuff that happened in my life from my childhood, all types of traumatic things that happened over time where I'm good. I went through it. It is what it is. I'm going to make the best of it because that's what we do. As black, I don't know about the black men you around. The black men I'm around, we just get through.
Man, that's the universal response. I'm good.
Yep, I'm good. I'm straight. I'm gonna get by. You know what I mean? You might like, bro. I talked to my brother, and he told me I could share this story. He's not my brother. He's my best friend. Been best friends for years. He went through. We was about 18, 19, and he had a stillborn baby. He was with the woman, and they had a stillborn baby, and I never seen him cry through that. And for me, now it was the most emotional service I've ever been through. The most emotional. It was. I don't know if anything ever touched it. I lost my dad in November. I lost my mother-in-law. Like I lost a lot of people close to me, but that one felt a little different. Like they still had to deliver the baby and all that stuff, and I never seen him cry. And to this day, I talk to him. I tell him I love him all the time, but he have a hard time. Just like, man, I'm whatever it is. It's hard for him to let out. And going through therapy, I'm telling him like, bro, it's okay, man. It's okay. Like I coach kids, I work with teens a lot, and I tell them all the time, like, bro, I'll give you a hug. I love you. It's okay you ain't got to be okay all the time, man. Some things are supposed to mess you up.
Yeah.
It's like you got to give them a space because that's the space we didn't have. I don't know about you, man. I didn't have that space. I had that space.
It wasn't afforded to us.
Right.
That space wasn't afforded.
Right. I couldn't cry. I had to be tough all the time. I had to put on this exterior, and then even deeper into relationships, man. Like
I was
I
about to
didn't
ask
know
that
how to
question.
be a loving husband. I didn't know how to
Right.
be a loving dad because that was
Yeah.
all new to me. So mental health, like to answer the question, I know it was a long-winded answer, but get back to the
warned
question.
us. You warned us.
Yeah, but getting back to the question, man, like I think it's the most in this day and age. I feel like it's mental health, physical health, and spiritual is all rolled into one. Health is just one thing, but it's different aspects to it. And I take mental health just as serious as spiritual and just as serious as health. I mean, physical health, because it's like you can't. It's all about the balance. You got to have
can't
all
have one without the other.
Right, because it's going to affect the other one.
Right.
You know, if you struggling physically, your mental health is going to be a little bad. You hopefully you get a little closer spiritually, but it's going to take you all out of tune. So in order to have full balance spiritually, mentally, and physically, you got to have that mental health, spiritual, and physical all tied into one. So it's vastly important, brother.
So I'm gonna hit you with this one. So as I said to you, man, we pull the covers off here. So I gave you that forewarning.
Yeah, you did.
but I also say to you, please understand that this is a safe place, and this isn't a place of judgment. And this is really all about helping other folks understand that, one, they're not in their walk by themselves, and two, that there is possibilities and hopeful places that you can get from where you are to where you believe, and we believe that you belong, and where God is calling you to be, in my opinion.
That's right.
So share with us, if you would, give. I know you said that at one point in your life, or at this point in your life, you're dealing with going to therapy, sitting down with your therapist. Give us a taste of what caused you to get to the place where you realized that therapy was necessary. What happened?
Now, I feel like it was threefold, because I really feel like, personally, in my relationship with my wife, we were hitting patches where we couldn't figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, I know we've been together for a long time. I know I loved it. I know I love her. I know she loved me. But there was just some things I'm like, yo, I don't understand why you are so upset. Like, I didn't. Well, now looking back in time, I didn't understand triggers. I didn't understand past trauma. I just was, look, man, that happened 25 years ago. I don't know what the problem is. Like, I don't apologize for 20 years. I don't know what your problem is. And, I didn't realize I was defensive. There were things about me that I never looked at. So long story short, we couldn't get along. Like, we would get along fine, but there'd be when we blew up, and it just was uncomfortable. Then in my personal life, I couldn't find fulfillment. Like, I was looking for things, but I was always chasing something. Like I said, I did all these things entertainment, and I always was driven off of negative energy. So if somebody said I couldn't do something, that would be the thing that drove me. Like, man, I think they hating on me. Like Michael Jordan on Last Dance said, and I took that personal. That was me. Personal. Yeah, on everything. Everything in my life, I take everything personal. And I didn't realize, I was like, dog. And then that got to a point where I'm like, it was harder to find stuff. Like, I don't know what to do now, man. I feel like I don't know what I want to do with myself. What do I like to do that's outside of me being driven by this negative energy? And then my kids. So, like, my son, I would say 5 years. My son's 20 now, and he's in relationships with young ladies, and I'm giving them this advice, and I'm telling them, and I wanted to make sure, after talking to my wife, me and my wife talking about our stuff, I'm like, look, I don't want to pass on whatever we got going on to them, because at some point they're gonna get in a relationship. And granted, we try to keep it away from them as much as possible. We all live in the same house, so when it's tension, it's tension. They feel it.
You're not hiding it.
I wanted to make sure, like, all right, dog, my son and my daughter, I didn't want them to have the same blindness to their issues that I had, because I thought, I read a lot of books. I'm one that's really into reading self-help books. I'm still a super positive person. I always see the glass half full, but even in that, there's a piece of that missing that doesn't tell you the not negative, but the harder part to get through that. It's easy to say, oh, I'm fine, everything's good, but it's hard to deal with the issue at hand that's causing you to feel like you're not doing whatever it is you may want to do. Like, people want to lose weight, and they eating, they don't realize they stress eating, and that stress eating is a cause of that. You got to get to the root. You got to get to the root. You're going to have a problem. So, so all those things kind of led me to saying, I got to get to the root of this. And I went to therapy a couple times. Like, this might have been like 10, 15 years ago, where I go twice, 3 times. Yeah, I'm good. I feel, I went to the therapist because,
I'm sure.
I went, and they tell me stuff. Oh, yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Didn't no real heavy stuff, no breakdowns.
Right.
But then, you know, this last time is, man, I went. First month was cool. That second month, boy, whew, we got deep. We was talking about like stuff from my childhood that I didn't even realize was an issue for me. And I'm like, oh man, this is, and then I'm going home having a rough week, just working through that stuff with the tools they would give me. So each week I would go in there and feel okay. Like, all right, think I'll work through this one. And then we talking, then they bring up another one. I'm like, oh man, and then at some point I felt like, oh man, I got a bunch of issues. Damn. Instead of looking at other people, I started looking at myself wholly. Like I ain't even, man, they ain't got problems. I got a problem. I gotta figure this out.
I'm broken over here. What's going on?
And that realization, brother, that's it. Like but I don't think, from my experience, I didn't come in thinking I'm broken. I just figured, man, I gotta figure this out. This ain't going right.
Right.
You know, I was going. I'm just, man, me and my wife ain't getting along. It's probably her. I don't know what's wrong with it. Everything was somebody else. It never was me.
Point the finger.
Right. It always was pointing. Like even if it was, wasn't blatant. Where I was saying, oh, it's all her. But I never took responsibility. It's hard to take responsibility for stuff you can't see. You don't know. You know what I mean? Like if you don't know it, you don't know it. Ignorance is bliss in some situations where I'm like, I had no idea I was dealing with all this stuff. So again, long-winded, but to answer your question,
that's all good.
To answer the question, bro, it was just things was going on in my life and I couldn't get a grip on it.
Yeah, and it's tough, man, especially because you made mention of like some of the childhood trauma and childhood issues that you have been holding on to, or you didn't even realize you were holding on to.
Right.
And for a lot of us as men, we get hit with that. I mean, I don't think there's very few brothers I know who walk around with the stigma that was dropped on them that, hey, you know, don't cry, men don't cry, you know, be strong, you know, or go out and conquer as many women as you can. Like all those stigmas that were dropped on us when we were young, we rode with those. Yep. And then all of a sudden, you know, we grow up and it's like, oh, shoot, none of that stuff applies. Right. Now what?
Right.
You know, how do I manage, you know, a monogamous relationship when no one's ever talked to me about monogamy?
Whew. You said a word right there, bro.
Right? Like, how do I do that? How do I? And so then you're in a relationship with somebody whose expectations are you supposed to be in this relationship and this is me and you together.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm like, listen, I'm with you now, but I'm looking across the yard because, you know, the grass is greener over there. At least I think it is.
Right.
And so we're processing differently because we were, you know, given information that didn't match the information of the folks who we become in contact with as we become adults.
Right.
Are you know, what's the adage of the biblical adage? You know, when you're a child, you play with childish things, but when you're an adult, you put those things away. We were never taught how to put the things away.
That's right. That's right.
We were just told, yo, this is you. Have fun, enjoy it, or do what you do with it. Yep. And we never got that. So yeah, a lot of that stuff, man. I mean, even in my own walk, had to learn how to deal with how am I managing my emotions when it comes to my connection to my at this time now my ex-wife, right?
Right.
But when I was married, how do I manage that? I didn't know how to do that. I didn't have, you know, sad to say, even though my mom and dad were married up until my dad's passing, but, you know, sorry, but they weren't the best role models on how to live as husband and wife. My mom was a very strong, nurturing, spiritual woman. My dad was a very strong Negro from the South who just knew how to go do stuff and didn't live a faithful marriage, you know, didn't understand how to live a faithful marriage. And then there was my mom, you know, who in her desire to try to preserve the family was showing me the dysfunction of how to manage a dysfunctional relationship.
That's right.
And so I'm learning, oh, this is what we do. We ride out that dysfunction until they die. Yep. We just ride this out, not realizing that there's other ways, therapy, counseling, to be able to come to the grips, to sit down and talk and have real heart-to-heart conversations with your spouse, you know, so that mentally you're living a healthier life, mentally and spiritually and physically. Because if you don't, you're gone. You're gone. You'll find yourself in, like, what's the comment that folks will say to you all the time? Stress kills. Stress is built off of those unhealthy mental moments. you know, that just pile up.
Yep.
And you
before
know,
you know it, you got it to the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah. And then you have no other choice but to just lose it, or you expire.
Right.
So yeah,
sometimes brothers do that numbing thing where they might want to drink. They might find that distraction to keep them seemingly on the path, but they ain't on the path.
Listen, and let's be real. For I'll speak directly to my brothers. I'm saying this to any brother who's on air right now and all of us.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing we could ever do is find comfort in something other than what we're supposed to be finding comfort in. And what I mean by that is being addicted to or drawn to, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's sex, whatever the vice may be. The worst thing you can do is allow that to be your place of refuge.
Right.
Because the situation is never going away.
Right. It's not getting fixed.
You ain't touching it. You ain't fixing it. And you thinking like, okay, if I go over here and do this, it'll diminish over here. No, it just escalated. Actually, it's what you end up with is an unkept fire. Unkept fire will just spread. And all of a sudden you got an inferno because you didn't really go over here and deal with it. You could have immediately at the beginning probably could just stomped it out and just had the dialogue and been done with it. But the more you keep running to something else, the worse that situation will ever become.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. And as brothers, man, another thing I want to say to brothers, I always tell everybody, we gotta evolve. We gotta grow. We gotta say, hey, this is not how you are. You can grow. It don't have to be that way for the rest of your life. You can say, today I'm gonna make this change. And a lot of us have a hard time doing that. You know, then granted, self-awareness is everything, Linda.
That's right.
Linda jumped in self-awareness. You gotta know who you are and know what's okay for you. You know what I mean? Know what's good for you. Not even okay, but what's good for you. What's feeding you and not what's taken away from you. Because that's really what, like I tell my wife, tell my kids, like I only want to go in spaces where it's a reflection, where I can go in and if I give good energy, that stuff come right back to me. That's what I don't want to go in a space where I'm just giving, and there's a lot of people taking. And honestly, some people, they don't realize they're taking. They're not in the mental space to understand, like, dog, I'm coming in with this good energy and you just coming in taking all that good energy with you, and then I leave drained. I don't want to leave drained.
Right. That's those leech relationships.
Yeah, man.
I don't
want a leech relationship. Yeah. I don't want to be in a leech place. I'm done with that, man. I said, no.
I want a leech relationship. I want to listen. It's got to be leech free.
That's right. Leech free. That's it. We're gonna be leech free. I hope everybody out there is leech free. I want to be leech free. Want you to be leech free. Like, man, we gotta
if you don't know what a leech is, please Google it.
Please. And some people in your lives, they don't realize they're leech. They're not even doing it on purpose. They're not trying to, but they gotta, that's where you come in and you gotta say, hey, bro. Sometimes you gotta pull them to the side. Say, hey, bro, you got some things you need to work out. Anyway, I can help you do that. Let me know. Here's a book. Like I'm good for giving a bro a book. You take this book, bro. Look, watch this video. Oh, it's all types of stuff out there to uplift people. You just gotta try to slide it to them in a gentle way.
Give it to them so it's non-threatening, right?
Yes. That's
important, especially with brothers.
Yes.
With us, it's so difficult sometimes to not only give the help but receive the help for us because of the fact that we feel challenged by so many different things in life. You know what I mean? We are challenged to perform a certain way in the workplace. We're challenged to perform a certain way at home. We're challenged to perform a certain way in the community. And so when somebody comes to you with an earnest moment to say, yo, bro, I want to help you. You're like, yo, why you want to help me? What you want to help me? Ain't nothing wrong with me, dude. What you trying to say?
What's in it for you? I don't feel comfortable with you trying. I know it's something deeper than this. And that's a hard, like, and I'm still challenged with that to this day, bro. Like I try to stay open to all the good that can come my way, but sometimes, old habits die hard. But as long, like Linda said, self-awareness, I know that. I know I'm defensive. I know I'll push people away before I let them in. So now I'm aware of it. I try to, move a little differently.
Yeah. Listen, and to Linda's point, you're right. And thank you, Linda, for chiming in with us today. It is so important to be aware of who you are, and not really always who you are, but how you conduct yourself, right? Being aware of yourself. And therapy is a big way of helping that happen for you. Because, sometimes if you're in a point, in a vulnerable point, which is sometimes also difficult for men, but to be in a vulnerable state where you're allowing someone to take a snapshot of who you are and show it to you. Like, here's what I see, and you be receptive to that. It's, I used to call them mirror moments, right? Mirror moments are when I'm going to take an honest look at what's in front of me, and that's me. But when you're able to do that and let someone else look at you and say, let me explain to you or share with you what I see when we're talking, when I hear what you're doing or dealing with, man, those are hard moments. And for those of us who are not ready, it's challenging to accept. Right. You know what I mean? Because if I'm still in a place where I'm like in denial and I'm not ready to have self-awareness, man, I might chew your head out.
Right. Or you're gonna leave that spaces and man, I know what they're talking about. I'm not gonna be around him no more.
Right. And it's their fault.
Yep.
I went there to that counselor and all she wanted to do was talk about what's wrong with me. Ain't nothing wrong with me.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. That right there starts the beginning of what's wrong with you.
It's the truth.
You operating in a denial place.
It's the truth. Like
I think all of us have the ability to be better than we were before.
Absolutely.
Right? Whatever it is, wherever you are, wherever place you fall on the totem, you have the ability to be better. And Absolutely. The more we accept that, the easier it is for us to move forward and grow it. And as you said, evolve.
Right. And that's what the goal. I feel like that's what the goal is for me, man. In life in general, just, life is hard. It's going to beat you up. But if we constantly striving for something that's not material, like everything I'm evolving to, it doesn't necessarily have to be material. It could be something, I want to be a better, not even something that has to do with nobody else. I want to get up 8 o'clock every morning and make my bed. Those are little things, but it has such a big meaning in your life because it brings value to, you feel better about yourself, man.
Yeah.
And that, like through therapy, I seen, like you said, I held up a mirror and I wasn't comfortable with a lot of things. And I said, damn, man. And now, you go back through relationships you may have had and you realize like a lot of those relationships may have fell apart because I was doing a lot of pointing and I wasn't looking in the mirror. I wasn't saying what I was doing wrong. So, so that's why I go back to all mental health, man. Like we all have those things. We all have those blocks. We all have those triggers and traumas, whatever it is we've been through. So if to be truly healthy, like whole body healthy, we have to address our mental health.
Yeah. That's huge. So let me spin this because we can talk for probably the next 2 days about our own walk with it, right?
Right.
There's enough dialogue there. Let me ask this question of you, T. From your perspective, man, and from, even from your own past experiences, what are some of the things you believe, bro, that get in the way of Black men taking the owner or the responsibility, using the words you used earlier, stepping up and taking the responsibility for their own mental health and mental wellness?
I think it's if I had to put it in one word, I'd say ego, but I also say it's a stigma. Like it's not being a vulnerable is not welcome. Like, like it's not a normal thing to go somewhere and be in any space really. And being a man and being vulnerable, it's you don't see it very often and it's taboo. Like in the workplace, I can't I say for instance, my father passed away in November and that's tough. So I went, and I'm still dealing with it. It's grieving is a long process, and some days are good, some days are bad. Boom. But so I go, and for the first time in my life, from going through therapy, I would go to work, and sometimes, and I work with teens. So when I'm around the teens, I don't really want to put my stuff on them. So I try to stick to that. But when I get around my coworkers, sometimes, man, I would cry. I used to be sitting in the room like, man, I miss my dad, and that was different for me. Like I was like, damn, man. So I would come home like, yeah, man. I come tell my son. So all these new things I'm learning. I passed on and said, look, dude, I was crying at work, man, and it was like a joke, but it was honest. And I'm like, oh, some days it ain't gonna be easy. And I felt like it gave him a space to say, look, Grandpa going, dog. You feel like you gotta cry, you cry. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's and some days not gonna be good. You don't have to keep trudging along. Sometimes sit down, bro. Take care of yourself. You know what I mean? So I think ego, it's getting back to that ego. I think some brothers, it's just so it's a stigma, and the ego thing is just in the Latino space they call it machismo, I think, where it's just being a manly man. It's being a manly man. I can't be soft, man. Like, you know, I remember soft was like a curse word, man. You call somebody soft, you had to fight.
Yeah, we got to see each other after that. I'm in the middle of the street squaring up.
Yeah, and then everybody's soft at times. I don't care who. Like, dog, you lose a parent, you lose a child, any situation of loss, or just your feelings is really hurt. You're in a relationship, man. You gonna hurt. It's okay to be like, man. Listen. So that ego where you feel like I can't let down this guard, I gotta remain. Like I gotta remain a beast. Like, you know, like how the young boys say, savage. I'm a savage.
I gotta be a savage.
Yeah, I ain't no savage, man. I'm good. I tell people all the time, I'm good cleaning hoes.
Yeah, real talk. Neither are they in that text. You are your flesh and blood, dude, and you feel, and you have to understand that. You know, like I was saying earlier, it's better younger to learn how to manage and understand your emotional the roller coaster, really, because like you said, you could be in a good place today, and then tomorrow be like, you know, curled up in the fetus position trying to figure out what the heck happened to me.
Yep, it's true.
And life's traumas can do that to you, you know, and that's important, because like even for you, and my condolence to you on the loss of dad, right? Because like you, I lost my dad. It's 19 years this past April, right? But I still have moments, man, where I miss him, and I find myself crying. And I find myself, you know, just like, yo, I can't cope. But it's understanding that that's what's going on in my head and in my spirit and in my heart helps me get through the moment. Doesn't make it less painful, but it allows me to have an understanding of, okay, I know what I'm dealing with. So like, for example, for me, every January 5th, my dad's birthday is the 5th of January. Every time around that time of the year, I go through this emotional drain. And then in the beginning, I was like, why am I like feeling this way? Where I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to connect to nobody. I don't want to talk to nothing. Then I started realizing, like, this is the time I normally would celebrate my dad. And now you know, he's not here. So that emotional expression to celebrate him is now removed from me, but the emotion is still in me. And so it's like, it wants to get out, but I'm like, why would? And so you got to know the balance. And so, you know, being able to just have that self-awareness, as it was stated earlier, and being able to manage that and those emotions are important to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's huge. It's huge, man, just to be able to say to yourself, I'm hurting and it's okay. And then not just be able to tell yourself that, but to tell other people, like, just be able to say, yo, man, I'm having a rough day. You know, and now God bless my friends, man. A couple of my bruh friends, I told them, and they would call me like, yo, you all right? I said, nah, I'm not really feeling good, bro. And ain't really nothing you could do, but I appreciate you calling.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's that whole situation is different. You know what I mean? So
that's huge. Deborah just shared, anger has become a substitute for other feelings of vulnerability. She's absolutely right. Because a lot of times, especially for us brothers, man, we'll get in a position when we can't manage what we feel, we lash it out.
Yep.
We do it in our relationships with our others, our significant others, our wives. We do it with our children. We do it in the workplace. Like, you know what I mean? We quick to tell, get out my face with that. I don't want to talk to you. Like we rah in a minute. Get away from me.
That's right. And emotions, man, it's a weird thing with emotions, because sadness and anger is like, they pretty much go hand in hand.
Synonymous almost, right?
Yeah, bro. And people don't realize it. Where I'm like, dog, most of the time when you angry, you probably sad, but somebody hurt your feelings.
Yeah,
it's not really you. You more like, oh, it's different.
Like you said, you get when you start digging to the root of that, you be like, oh, so that's what's wrong. Your lady left you.
Yeah. I see.
Or you're right. Or something else. Yeah, we have a way of going there. Well, when we're sad or we're upset about that untapped or unchecked emotion, we go to that anger place. And you're right, Sister Debbie. We're notorious for that. And that is an area that, again, goes back to that self-awareness of knowing oneself, to know, like, this behavior triggers this behavior. You know what I mean? So now I know when this happens, I need to be mindful that I don't react the way I normally act. I got to check myself. And that's really important. having those moments, like I think you used the word triggers,
Yep,
knowing the triggers.
And
so that
listen, bro, that goes with what they said earlier, self-awareness. And I try to tell brothers all the time, like, that's a trigger. And I literally try to explain it to them, like, bro, you know what the trigger is? And they thinking, I know. Nah, bro. I mean, like, something that's just going, as soon as it happens, it's going to snap and you're going to be somebody else. You got to watch out for those. And like, and then the young boys, they receptive. Like, it's funny. Younger teenagers, they a little more receptive to that type stuff. Cats are, cats 40, 35, 40, they're like, man, I ain't got no trigger. I'm good. And I'm sure they hear me. I know you out there. If you listen, man, you got some triggers. You need to work on those things, brother. And if you need any help, we here for you.
That's right. That's right. There it is. So listen, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit, bro.
Okay.
Wasn't part of the original conversation, but I'm gonna take it here because we've mentioned physical health a couple of times already, and I know you and I are so similar in age, and we're around that age bracket, man, where our physical wellness is important to keep it in check, making sure that we're doing our due diligence to balance, whether it be our weight, our blood pressure, our sugar, getting the prostate exams, all of those things, man, I think are important. So let's build a little bit on that, man, and a little bit in the time that we have. I don't know about yourself. I know the first time I had to go get a prostate exam was probably, I'm just gonna keep it 100. Was one of the most traumatic moments of my life.
Look, I ain't even got one yet. I'm 46, and I believe this is my year, brother.
Yeah. You there? Normally around 45, bro. So we might want to get you scheduled tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, but so that first time, man, I never forget when my doctor looked at me and was like, "Hey, Ned, it's about that time." I was like, "About that time for what? Like, what are we talking about? What do you want? What do you want to do? What?"
Yep.
But it was important, man, not only to know that it wasn't a painful occurrence, number one, and I know a lot of us are like, "Oh my God, nah, man, ain't nobody going back there." Dude, first off, listen, if going back there saves your life, then by all means, dude, you got to do what you got to do.
Go on back there,
because I want to be around a little bit longer.
Right.
But the process, dude, I mean, I never forget. Like I almost got mad, real talk, bro, when I went and got a colonoscopy, right? Because the process to get prepared for the colonoscopy was like 48 hours of hell week, all wrapped in. It was crazy, cleansing your body. I was like, yo, dude, this is ridiculous. And then it was like, the procedure was like 2 minutes. The doctor was waking me up. I was like, y'all done already? Nah, y'all can't be done already, dude. I ain't even been under that long. He was like, oh, we're done. You're good. You're all right. You don't have to come back and see me for 10 years. I was like, dude, you done already?
Right.
Like, I had to go through all that for 10 minutes.
Right.
I was heated, but I'm thankful that I did it because, one, it was necessary for me to know, to be able to deal with that and understand, that was going on, or making sure that I was okay. But it was also a message to, like I said, everything I do, man, is always thinking about my sons, that if I go through this and I do it, they understand now that it's not only a necessity, but it's manageable. Because my dad did it. If he can do it, I can. Like, and that's the reality of that one. So I don't know. What are some of your thoughts, man? I mean, around the physical health, dealing with some of the things that we deal with, man. And like you said, I mean, I'm talking about the prostate issue. I know you probably have some other concerns or things that may be on your mind. Share them with us, bro.
Like, I think, man, first off, you got to go to get your physical every year. I think that's something a lot of people don't do. And now it's easier. Like, you don't have to have a primary doctor. You can go to what they call those things, urgent care. Urgent care. Say, I want a thorough physical. Get your blood work every year. Like, it's something I've been doing for the last 10. Because my mom had cancer and she beat it, and then before my dad passed from ALS. So so I seen him a steady decline, and that kind of made it a whole lot easier for me to say, because he literally was bedridden for the last couple of years, and seeing that, it make you a lot more aware of what you're doing with your life and ways you move. So for me, I try to live and enjoy the moments as much as possible, but at the same time, I try to make sure I take care of I eat green every day. I got little things that I do every day. Multivitamins. Nice. I go see my doctor right now, knock on wood. None of my stuff is bad. My cholesterol is okay. Everything's good. So I'm hopefully it stays that way. But you know, like you said, being on top of it makes you feel a whole lot like that eliminates the stress. Because now I kind of feel like if I feel a little funny, go to the doctor. I personally go to the gym like 4 times a week. And I'm considered overweight, but I go to the gym 4 times a week because it's good for my mental health, put my music on, zone out, and it's good for my physical. You know, I get my little cardio on, lift my weights, and just living your life is a whole lot easier when you can stretch down and get stuff off the ground, man. You know, tying your shoes up, all the little things that happen when you get a little older. You know, I can do all those things. So far, so good. But bro, make sure you go out there and take care of yourself physically. And if something feel off, go to the doctor. And don't go to the emergency room. If you have to, go to the emergency room. But
let that be emergency use only. Don't because a lot of listen, you say that because a lot of our folks, man, our primary care is the emergency room.
That's right.
We don't go see the doctor. We just wait till it's like, oh my God, I'm in so much pain. I just gotta go to the emergency room.
It's sad but true. Sad but true. My arm is killing me, man. I can't lift it. I'm gonna go to the emergency room. Well, you said you go to the doctor 2 weeks ago when it was hurt. Yeah, but that made a lot
with that same leg for 3 weeks. You ain't called your doctor yet?
Nah, man. Look, I got a story. When I was like 25, man, I broke my leg sledding with my kids. Didn't know till I broke my leg again in the snow like 2 years later. They said it healed back. I said, what? And I remember exactly when I broke it because I didn't go to the doctor. Put a knee brace on. It's fine. I'll be all right. And luckily it healed fine. But man, that 25 years old, you don't know no better, man. You just be doing stupid stuff. So if you can avoid that, you know, hopefully you hear this and like, you know what, I am gonna go to just make an appointment, go get a physical. Even if you go into the urgent care. I think they're like $100. If you ain't got $100,
that's money well spent.
Absolutely. And for your peace of mind, you're gonna feel better. Like, all right, I know, get the blood work with it, get the whole 9, and it's well worth it. But bro, we just gotta stay active, man. I think, you know, all the things going on in the community, it's always stuff to do. Live your life, man. I think it's a part of a full life. Like we was talking about mental health and now we're talking about physical. I think it all ties together. I think when you live a life doing things you want to do, it's a fulfilling life and you're going to want to live long. You're going to want to take care of yourself a little better when you're doing things you care about and that means something to you. So for me, that's the key. Like you do things that mean something to you, stuff that moves you, you're going to go to the doctor. You're going to go to the gym because you don't want to stop doing what you're doing.
Right. Or one of the things, and I'll chime in with this conversation off of that comment. One of the things that I've learned, right, as I've gotten older, is the value of just being present for my family and realizing that if I don't start checking and doing the things I need to do and taking care of myself, that my ability to be there is now minimized or limited, right? As a dad, the worst thing in the world that you could ever say to me is that I can't be there for my boys. Right. Because that would probably devastate me. Right. You know, that would probably to say to me, hey, you can't go travel, or you can't go do the things with your sons, or you can't be with them while they're out in the back. Man, you might as well be just like, listen, put that joke on suicide watch because he might be going soon because I wouldn't know how to manage that. Right. And so it's important for us to be able to do the things that we need to do. I had a heart-to-heart conversation before coming on air with my sister, my older sister, today about the fact that there are elements that I need to be ahead of the game on, like, you know, making sure diabetes runs in my family, right? And so for me to get a call from my doctor saying, yo, you're borderline was like red light. I'm like, oh, I got to change my diet. I got to increase my exercise. I got to do the things that I need to do to make sure that I'm okay. I think my man Joe Dunbar just jumped on and he was saying the same thing, that his weight, you know, him holding a little bit overweight caused him to end up with diabetes. We have to be, you know, do our due diligence to make sure that we are actively taking care of ourselves. And I say that in that way, actively, because sometimes we think we're doing it because we be like, I feel okay. Right. I feel all right. Ain't nothing wrong.
Yep.
Ain't nothing hurting. Ain't nothing broke. Don't fix it. You know what I mean? Because we immediately equate going to the doctors as something must be wrong with me. Right. The reality is, no, you just like your vehicle. I tell people this example. You got a car. You take care of your car, sometimes a lot of us, better than we do ourselves. You make sure the oil's changed on a regular basis. You rotating the tires. Listen, those windshield wipers need to be replaced. They ain't bad yet, but they getting there. So I'm going to change them beforehand.
Right.
Like we do all that stuff. Listen, man, I want to make sure the paint stay right on the car. So we got to put that wax on. I want to make sure I preserve that color. We do all of that for our vehicles. We don't do any of those checkpoints for our bodies.
That's right.
And for our minds. And we got to be that diligent in our self-care as we are with our material care stuff.
That's right. We got to be proactive in that self-care, brother. You can't be reactive. It's too late. You be reactive, you catching up, and hopefully it work out well for you. But man, stay on top of it.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, bro. Reactive behavior when it comes to your health means that you already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
You may not be
right. There might not be enough time to recover.
That's right.
Especially when we get older. You know what I mean? I jokingly say to folks, so I play ball a lot. And I was telling people I don't play as much as I used to because my bounce back ain't as great as it used to be.
Yeah.
So when I go play ball, the knees afterwards are talking to me like, yo, dude, listen, when you were 180 pounds, we were jumping to the rim. Now you're trying to jump to the rim and you 250. It ain't the same bounce, dude. It hurt more.
Yeah, and it's gonna take you a couple of days to recover after you try to touch that rim.
Right.
It might take you a week, depending on how hard you play and how many games you played. Been there, brother.
Yeah. You be like, yo, dude, my body hurting.
Yeah.
Like, well, we playing tomorrow. I won't be there with y'all.
Yeah.
I'll see y'all next week.
Tomorrow. I ain't playing tomorrow.
Right. Gonna take me a couple of days to get these aches out the way.
Right.
But that's true for a lot of the stuff we do, and that's why it's so important to stay active in it early, so that you have the longevity that's needed. Right. Because we're talking for myself. Yeah, if I had stayed active in basketball and playing tennis in my earlier years, I could probably still get around a little bit better with it now. Like it wouldn't probably be a problem to say, yeah, I ain't playing 4 days a week, but I could give you 3.
Right.
Now I'm looking at jokers like you might get 2.
Yeah, you're lucky if you get 2. Like,
and that's like spade. I got 1 in a possible.
That's it. Like you playing spades, boy. Yeah, I got 1 in a possible. That's all you get. And it better be separate. It better be a Monday and a Friday, Monday and a Saturday.
It ain't back to back.
Yeah, no back to backs, man.
Ain't no back to back.
I feel you. But bro, I think that it's like you said, it's a good conversation, bro. Like I think more people. We just gotta have this in our space, like in our space with bros, man. We gotta have it because I see it. I got a bro right now. He ain't like physically, he ain't doing too well. I had a stroke, like a couple things going on with him. I tell him, bro, just come to the gym. Come with me. Come on. And like I tell him, like I'm gonna tell everybody out there listening now, it's on you. Like your health is your responsibility, and that's your mental health, your physical, spiritual. It's all your responsibility. Nobody can come in and say, all right, I'm gonna fix you. It's on you. You gotta want it that bad, and you gotta find the reason why you want it that bad. Whether that's your family, whether it's whatever it may be for you. Like it, and I'm one to say, if you gotta take that negative energy and flip it around. Hey man, take that negative energy, flip it around, and say, look, I'm gonna do this for this reason. I'm gonna show everybody that thought I would never do nothing. I'm gonna do it. If that's what you gotta do, do that. But whatever reason it is, you gotta find something to keep going and to push yourself, like that internal motivation to be the best person you could be or to get through whatever it is you're going through.
Yeah. I think it's so important, man. To your point, finding your why in anything that we do is paramount. Like, I mean, if I can locate or figure out or attach myself to the purpose for doing it, then it gives me the motivation, or should give you the motivation to keep hanging on to it and pushing through it. For some of us, like you said, it might be, hey, my family has a history of diabetes and I don't want to be another casualty in my family. I'm going to break that chain. I'm crushing that chain. Mm-hmm. It might be, hey, I want to do this for my children because I want to be able to see my grandchildren. Whatever your why is, let that be what motivates you to get the help you need, to stay focused on the process that you're in. And not only that, but also just, own it and be responsible for it and you, because that's important. I mean, that you can't, when it comes, like you said, when it comes to your mental health, your mental well-being, your physical health and well-being and your spiritual, you own that. Right. You are responsible for it. That's right. And so you can't, like you said earlier, I can't point the finger at anybody if any of those slack or slip. That's me.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And, some folks might say, oh, well, it was because I was in this toxic relationship. Well, you were in that toxic relationship.
That's
There's
right.
still some onus that falls on your plate. Yeah, the other person might have did some stuff, but you were there.
That's
you
right.
and you had, for whatever reason, bought into it.
Right.
So
And everybody got the power to, like, I think a lot of times, man, a lot of people, they lose sight of their own power because they, like, in every situation you win, you got the opportunity to be out of it. Like, whatever it is, you want to change your environment, you want to change your life. Nobody else can do that for you but yourself. It's on you. So I don't lose sight of that. I'm like, man, any situation not right, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna make sure the situation is right for me. That's gonna help me be the best me I could be.
Absolutely. There it is. Listen, man, we could probably spend another 45 minutes to an hour, man, doing this back and forth, and know that we will, because I'm gonna have you back on, man, and we're gonna continue to build around, men's health, and then other conversations, because I think that you and I could have I did a segment, which I'll be doing again, on Black men and parenting.
I would love that conversation.
So that's a conversation, bro. I would love to have you come to the table as well as we talk about fatherhood and what that looks like for us from a Black man's perspective. Not what society sees it as, but how we see it.
I love that. I would love that. Because, man, I had that conversation. I'm gonna say this one thing. I feel like you and I both, we're breaking that stereotype. Anybody that thinks it's different, like, man, I don't know what y'all know. This is what I live. Like, man, my kids call me right now. I'm gone. And they're 20 and 18.
Same here, bro. 23 and 19. Listen, when they call, I'm out.
Yep.
Y'all. We could be on air, and I bet. Listen, we're gonna log off right now. I'm sorry, I gotta go.
and then I'm just here for Ned representing y'all because he had to go be with his kids, and I understand that's where he should be. We definitely had to have that conversation.
So we'll definitely, man. I'm gonna have you back on, man. Listen. I'm gonna give you the floor for a couple of seconds. Take a moment, man. Give the listening audience, man, something that you want to leave them with, man, around the importance of health, the importance of taking care of self. Give us something. Lead the listening audience with something nice.
All right, I'm gonna leave y'all with this, man. I know you might not listen to rap lyrics. You might. I don't know. The great artist Jay-Z, he had an album named 444. It came out. It was a great album. Had to talk about a bunch of stuff, but a line that stuck with me that I'm never gonna leave. I'm gonna keep it. You can't heal what you never reveal. It's a rap line. It sounds corny. I don't know if it sounds corny to you, but look at yourself. Take time to be self-aware of your physical, of your mental, and your spiritual. Go to places that feed you, and when they feed you, you feed them too. Like, it's a mutual, like, listen, man, we all in humanity together. It's nobody out here that's alone. We are all one people. Humans, we need each other. I always said for aliens were to attack, we all we got. So let's move like aliens are in the horizon on their way here. We need each other.
Band together.
We got to band together, and in that, you still got to be the best you could be. So go to environments and places and people that feed you and motivate you to be the best you can be, and continue to push, man. Continue to evolve, and don't be afraid to do the things that scare you. Like the positive things that scare you, do them. Because even if you don't get to where you're going to, you're going to feel better, man. Your life is going to be more fulfilled. Do things that fulfill you. Do things that mean something to you. Love your family. Love the world, man. I love everybody. Anybody watching right now, I love you. I wish you nothing but the best. So that's all I got, man.
My man. That's a lot right there. I like that. Listen, and I echo those sentiments as well, bro. I tell folks all the time, and I'm going to say it again today. You know what I mean? Self-care, self-awareness is so important. Take care of you. Find time to take care of you, especially for those of us who are parents, who are trying to just make it in this crazy thing called life. Right. You have to find that space. And even if you can't find it, you make space to take care of you, whether it be get away and just lock yourself in a hotel room for 24 hours and just do nothing. Quiet time, meditation time, yoga, whatever you need to do to help you be able to unplug, replenish, and recharge, you have to make it happen. Because if you aren't present, folks are going to lose out. because each and every one of us is a gift. And if you're not here to share your gift, then the rest of us lose out. Don't cause us to lose out because you're not present. So with that, I'm going to say to everybody, listen, we love you here at Royalty Mission Network. It has been an honor, a blessing, and a privilege to be able to come on today. I thank you, my brother Miller, man, for being with us today.
Looking
forward to you being back on again. To all those folks who chimed in, know that we love you. We care about you. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to what we do here so that you're always notified about what's coming down the tube. Because trust me, I say this to you, we are always looking to do something different as we continue to pull the covers off, whether it's here in the barbershop or with my sister Monica on the opposite Wednesdays when she's in the beauty shop, or if you get a blessed opportunity to see all of us together in the throne room, it's a treat you don't ever want to miss. So take care of yourselves. God bless each and every one of you. Know that you're loved. If nobody else told you, we mean it here. Take care.